12 p.m.
Second.
Seconded by Jeff. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We on, Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a meeting of the Groveland Conservation Commission. The date today is May 13, 2015. Okay, let's see, so, you guys don't have a copy of the agenda.
It's on the computer.
All right, so I'm gonna talk about some just some update stuff. And, we got about 20 minutes before we can start the hearings anyway. And we've got 4 hearings this evening. We've got a septic system at 868 Salem Street. We've got a subdivision, Homestead Lane. We've got a septic system at 213 Washington Street. And we have a request for determination of applicability for 441 Main Street continued. So those are our 4 hearings tonight. But we'll start with just some updates. Here's Julie. So, let's see. The first thing I'll tell you about is Lower Center Street. A couple of good things. We moved some more soil over to that area where the plantings were on that Saturday. And then it was going to rain, so I went and got some hay bales, put some hay bales along the pond, staked them in, and I haven't been back there since, but I'm assuming that the dirt was held in because of the hay bales, so hopefully that's all okay. But like I said, I haven't visited that recently.
Pretty dry.
Yeah, it's been dry. Oh,
And we had an update from the Beaver Deceiver guy too, right?
yes, the Beaver Deceiver guy came and he did his maintenance on the place and found that the thing was operational and everything was good. So, so that's good. The other thing that I did was I met with Chief of Police about 3 weeks ago and talked about Lower Center Street. And he told me some interesting things. He said that that over the past 1.5 to 2 years that the amount of complaints that he has received from neighbors, yes, have gone down.
That's good.
Since we've been taking a very much more active role over there. So that's good. And, I updated him on what we were doing there, about the Beaver Deceiver, about the signage requests, about some of the other things we've done there. And so he's all up to date on what we're doing there, and he said that they will continue keeping an eye on the place as much as possible. So that's all good.
He had no general concerns about
No,
what you do going on?
no.
It's good to hear.
Yeah. So, I think that we're in pretty good shape as far as Lower Center Street is concerned. There's still work to be done. I've got to talk, I still haven't spoken to the fire chief about the grill issue and some signage. I've got to go over there and actually write down the number of signs that we need to purchase, but, you know, those are small things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, please do let me know if you schedule a time with the fire chief and I will attend
Yeah,
that.
I might just email him and see what he has to say about it first,
Okay.
so we'll see. Okay, so that was number 5. How you doing, Julie?
I'm doing.
Everything okay?
Yeah.
All right, so we just did number 5. Do we have any minutes to approve tonight?
Yes, there's 2 sets, March 11th and April 8th.
Okay. So just pass those down along and we'll read them. Okay, so that was number 5. Let's see. Number 8. Take a look at number 8, Easy Park update. So if you recall, I think I spoke about this back in March or April, I can't remember. But, you know, we got a lot of damage to the building here because of the storms. Turns out, you know, it's like well over $100,000 worth of damage. So far, the insurance company is, you know, saying they're gonna cover. They're not saying they're not gonna cover anything, let's put it that way. So we're moving ahead. I'm expecting work to start on June 7th. They're planning on being here and starting the work on that second floor portion of the building over there, so that's good. And so we're, and plus I'm kind of expecting this is gonna take, you know, probably a few months. I don't think the place is gonna be done until September or so. The other thing is that the community preservation project for new windows and door in the Great Hall was approved at town meeting. So come July 1st, we'll be able to get that project underway too. So when we're all done, at the end of 2015 sometime, the building will be in a lot better shape.
That's great.
So that's the bottom line.
Did they give you an idea of when they're gonna give you a check? Or they usually is something this amount, they help give you partial?
I've been asking them on a weekly basis. We don't have to get a check for all the work that they're in charge of. They're gonna build it.
We did that road?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because it was way too big for me to have to
Right.
deal with, you know. So that's a good thing. I'm just waiting for a check for the tenants' hotel costs, our snow removal costs, and a few other things.
Right.
Still haven't got that yet.
The situation with the tenants, does that continue indefinitely until the renovations are complete, or how does that work?
Well, they've been back for the past month.
Okay.
They're using the kitchen because they can't use upstairs at all.
Right.
So they're using the kitchen and the dining room. So those areas we've closed off for rentals.
Okay.
They're not able to use the living room because the supports are still in place. They're gonna have to leave for 3 days when they take the roof off of the building there. But once they've done that, they should be able to come back and not have to leave again. So, and they're fine with that.
Okay.
So,
That's good.
yeah, so we haven't had any problems. Thankfully, we're in good shape there. All right, so that's the VZ Park update. Let's see, next we'll talk about number 9, the Center Street Greenway update. So I'm working with Essex County Greenbelt on the conservation restriction that has to be placed on the Mattingly and Angelini properties. Okay, those are the 2 properties in the back. And that's been ongoing for about a year, but I think we finally have all the information from the state that we need, plus Essex County Greenbelt has a new person that they just hired in April working on this, so he wants to get it done. So I'm hoping that that the conservation restriction will be in place in maybe a month or two.
This is the property where they're gonna be removing lawn and.
Angelini,
Okay,
yes.
so does that affect that process in any way, or is it just?
There'll be
you
like
put
a,
it under those restrictions and?
yes,
it's
there'll
just
be a note in the CR that says we are gonna allow this during a certain period of time, yes. Speaking of which, they have not started any of the work yet on the Angelini property to begin the gravel removal process, but he wants to start soon. I've scheduled a meeting for June 1st with the water department, who is the party of the permit. So hopefully Bill Angelini will be there, the water department, and us. So that's gonna be on June 1st. So I'll send out a thing if anyone's available. It's on a Monday night, so. But that's progressive. So that's good. Number 9. Somewhat related to that is number 10. I had a site visit with the company that controls the solar field, whose name escapes me right now. But they are concerned about trees shading some of the solar collectors out there. So what they'd like to do is cut some trees down along the border of the solar field, which just so happened to be on the former Angelini and Mattingly land.
Okay, so it's off the property associated with the solar field itself?
Yes, yes, but it's on the property that we now control.
Right.
2 properties that we control. So they've hired Woody Cammett to put a plan together, so they should be filing with us their plans on what they want to do soon, because they want to do it fairly soon.
Is it this tree, I assume the trees are blocking,
Yeah,
do they have like some, I assume when they file this, they'll bring in like why, the percentage of whatever energy they're getting out of these panels?
yes,
this,
oh yeah, they got it right off the top of their, yeah, because they were telling me that day. I mean. So we'll anticipate that. I expect maybe next meeting, I don't know, maybe sometime soon, June maybe later, but sooner or later. Let's see. Number 11, yes, number 11. That's the group of 6 or 7 town departments who have skin in the game for permits. Planning, fire department, us, ZBA, highway, I forget who else, but anyway, there's 6. And I guess the study group that they put together decided to hire, if possible, MVLC, Merrimack Valley Planning, MVPC, Merrimack Valley Planning, to put together a permit document for the town. And Denise Dembowski wants to have us split the cost of that. So our share will be $460, which we can do it. So I'd like to make a motion that we spend $460 contribution towards the Merrimack Valley Planning Corp permit guide.
Second.
Any questions on this?
Do you know, because I was there when they were discussing
Yep.
this, are they gonna, because the Merrimack Valley has sort of a template that they use, so
Yeah.
they're gonna take from that and it's gonna go for consideration in front of the smaller group and then we'll vote on it, or?
I think so. We're gonna certainly weigh in. We have the most documented forms and procedures of any of these groups. they could probably take what we've already got and just put it in there, and we would be done. So, all in favor of spending $460 on this, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, I think, Judy.
Yep.
Okay, next, we still have a few more minutes. Okay, 764 Salem Street. Does anyone remember that one? 764 Salem Street. This was about a year and a half ago, December 6, 2013. I wrote the owner a letter. Somebody went and saw it.
Oh, is he the mason with the pile of stuff?
Yes, right there on the corner of, near the corner of Washington and Salem. Okay, well, I don't know, the letter that I sent said that we were gonna follow up with him last year, which we didn't do. But, I did get a concerned citizen, didn't call me, but called the select board, that there's still a problem there. So, I need a volunteer to recontact this guy and ask him what he's planning on doing. And I got the copy of the letter and the setback picture from the map.
Do we know who was there last time? Was it Carl?
I
know
think it
me.
was
I think
Carl.
Carl and you, Terry, or just Carl?
Wasn't he the one that had he had like a truck or something that was broken down in the back, or?
Take a look at that, maybe you'll recall the picture.
He had some,
I don't even recall the event.
he had like a pile of like bricks and stuff.
Isn't he like in the corner?
December 2012.
Well, it's
Okay,
like
so I
you
was
drive,
residing
you go
on
up
one
here
of
and then
the-
Washington's over here and you think, oh, let's go to BZ.
Nice try though.
So he has time.
I don't remember it at all.
Refill.
I don't remember it either.
Yeah.
It could have been a meeting we
Yeah.
weren't at,
Okay.
because we had
So I think our
seven
concern
members.
was
Or we
back
could
then.
just forget.
Boom.
Yeah.
I have
Sure
things
does.
that I see I wrote, and I saw it a couple of years later, I go, I wrote this?
Yeah.
Now, is it in our jurisdiction?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
So- I thought he said he was gonna, we gave him a little extra time because it was winter and he wouldn't be able to get rid of the pile. We thought it was better to wait, but.
Well, it's had plenty of time.
There's no phone number.
No,
I'll try to
I think
call
you
him.
went to his house.
I didn't go, I know somebody did, maybe it was Carl.
All right, so you're gonna take
I'll
that
follow
one?
up on him, I'll talk with Carl. about
Get
it.
Carl to help him with it.
Can I read on this?
Yeah, that's your copy. All right, so that takes care of number 12. I've got a couple more minutes here. Okay, let's see.
We talk about the pines or no?
The Pines, I think that may take more than a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So we'll put that one off a little bit, because I got plans here, and we'll have to look at it closely with a magnifying glass. Next,
Center Street?
You missed that.
you know, we already talked that
Oh,
one.
okay, this is check place. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
We have meeting minutes?
Got a
Meeting
vote on it.
minutes.
Got a vote on it, well,
Yes.
I guess we voted on the permit study.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
How many minutes do we have to kill? Can we talk about next meeting?
Next meeting,
One more
it's
minute to kill?
June, what is that date?
June 10th.
June 10th, next meeting.
June 10th.
And I'm sure Julie has the Monday schedule.
Pass it down?
Yeah,
Yes, please.
how are we doing on the minutes?
Almost there.
Well, there's,
You reading them?
I would go, there are
In
seven
your
changes
spare time?
versus there is, but.
That's good.
Almost the meetings first.
Probably
This
the calendar
was
was-
second. 868 Salem Street. right, so I think we're ready to open the first hearing here, and it is going to be for Homestead Lane. Yeah, so this is a hearing for a new roadway and 2 lots within a 5-lot subdivision with wetland buffer issues. So, let's see. First of all, before we open the hearing, we did not get the sign-off form from the finance director, and also when you filed the form for the Groveland Notice of Intent, you used an outdated form, and so you actually owe us another $600. Yeah, this form was from April 8th, 2009, and the current one is from 2014. And the filing fee on that particular stuff went up, I think, $200 a piece, so.
Okay, the applicant can probably address that prior to the meeting or before next meeting. The form I downloaded from the website, so I don't know if the website has it.
I don't know.
We don't have control over what's.
No, I have control over it, and as far as I know, it's the current one.
There you go. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure I got it from the website, so I'm surprised. It's okay.
So, but before we open the hearing, I'll just ask, because I'll believe whatever you tell me.
Sure.
You don't owe the town of Groveland any back taxes?
No.
Okay, because if you did, I can't even open
Okay.
it.
Yeah, sure.
That's why we have to have that sign off, but I'll believe what you're telling me. Okay, so we'll open this hearing at 7:35.
My name is William Holt. William Holt, land survey and design, representing the applicant, which is DeHulu Homes, who is purchasing the property known as Homestead Lane, which is located near 48 King Street. This is an approved subdivision approved by the planning board in 2008. It has some conservation issues, which is why we're here tonight, to discuss the working buffer zone associated with the roadway construction and 2 houses, lots 5 and 6. The proposal is to construct 550 feet of roadway, terminating in a cul-de-sac to service the 5 new house lots. There's actually a 6th lot that was created, which is an existing house, number 48, which is actually not part of the subdivision. It's lots 2 through 6 are the lots that are being serviced by the subdivision road. The plan was designed to include a new water service, new water main, which is going to be looped to Francis Ave, and a new sewer line, which is going to be looped also to Francis Ave. Also has all the utilities for electric communications within the right-of-way itself. And that's going to service all 5 lots. During the planning board process, they had a complete stormwater management plan to mitigate and treat the volume and water quality generated by the Newbrook roadway. And that's was approved by the planning board and reviewed by Camden Engineering. This is the planning board's consultant for compliance with the stormwater management regulations as well as the subdivision regulations. Like I said, we're here to discuss the conservation issues. There are 2 wetlands lines that were delineated for the subdivision by Mark Jacobs, who's a professional wetland scientist. In the southerly portion of the property, there's a wetland line, which is highlighted in blue here, which is majority is off-site, but a little portion of it comes onto the site right in this location. And then up in the northerly part of the property, or off the property, there's an off-site wetlands right here located on the lot on Francis Ave that they're gonna be using an easement through to gain access to the sewer and water connections. So we have the buffer zone associated with both those, which is why we're here tonight. The 100-foot buffer zone is the yellow highlighted line, which is 100 feet from the wetlands. And anything within that 100 feet is jurisdictional with the Conservation Commission and DEP. Majority of the road construction, all of the road itself, is outside the buffer zone, as you can see. None of the roadway pavement or any of the roadway construction will be inside of the buffer zone. The drainage associated with the roadway will actually have a drain manhole here that will discharge from the newly created pond, fishing basin that will mitigate and provide water quality treatment for the runoff before it's discharged into the wetlands. And that road covers about 17,000 square feet in the buffer zone, which is why we're here today. To get that permitted so that we can allow to build this detention pond and swale that goes along the property line that directs water to the detention pond. Those are typically located lower in topography to get the water to flow to the pond so they can be treated and retained. And the off-site impact to the wetlands runoff will be the same as it was prior, because it'll be additional runoff created by the pavement, and the pavement in the roadway will be collected and retained in the pond at the same rate that was discharging before the construction of the roadway. On lot 5 and 6, we anticipate the house will be built outside the buffer zone, but there'll be some grading within the buffer to create the lawn behind the property, behind the house. So there'll be some grading. It won't be a driveway, and the house will most likely be located outside the buffer zone. We can submit final designs for those two houses prior to doing any construction, so they can see the actual grading that's going to take place. And right now, we anticipate about 2,000 square feet on lot 5 and about 4,000 square feet on 4,000 square feet on lot 6 to be in the buffer zone, potentially for grading purposes. But that again, it'll be just grading for the behind the lot, not behind the house, not necessarily structures. Basically, the other area that we're going to be doing work with in the buffer zone is to create the connection to the sewer and water, which is up off of the north of the property up near Francis Ave. There's a legal easement that was created and has been quoted with the Registry of Deeds for this purpose. And as you can see, in the buffer zone, there's about 5,000 square feet of area in the buffer zone that we needed to do the work on that sewer line and water line.
It's
And,
not roadway, it's
not roadway, it's just sewer, utilities, underground, sewer and water, and gas, I believe, as well. It's going to be right in that way. And it's also, if you take a look at the property, it's going down the driveway. Actually, it's disturbed already, right up to the almost the line.
They are, but they file.
With grading in the driveway itself. And then we'll go on to the site. Actually, when it's onto the site, it's just about outside the buffer zone. So the two areas of work, again, it's this area where the utility is going to be installed, and the area where the detention pond is being built, and grading for the swale. This part of the detention facilities, which are taking water from the two existing catch basins on King Street, and detaining it here, and then treating it, and then having to go down the water quality swale to the bigger detention pond. All this work is outside the buffer zone, although we are installing hay bales along the entire southerly boundary line to prevent any siltation from going into the wetlands during construction. And the same over here, we'll put hay bales in on both sides of the easement to prevent any sedimentation from flowing out of the work area during construction. So those are two conservation area jurisdictions that we're proposing with this plan.
How long do you think the work will be going through the easement to place the pipes in?
I'm not a contractor. I
Oh,
know
well,
Steve's.
when he comes back, we can ask him.
I would guess it's about 200 feet, well, 100 feet long.
Yeah. I mean, I plan on putting it within 2 weeks, something like that, or less. If that would work out better, we can get it done a week easy, you know, in this area.
Yeah, from
But
here.
you're gonna have to have interaction with Roland Water and
Yeah.
Sewer, right?
Right.
So some of it's out of
Sure.
your hands, right?
Yeah, well, I'll do the best we could to actually get it done as quick as possible.
Typically, the drainage is constructed early on
Yeah.
in the development. So that will be done, after we take the hay bales out, that'll be done early.
Yeah, so you're gonna get the infrastructure in place, the roadway,
Mhm.
the drainage systems and everything else before you even start to
Put foundation
put in houses
You
and.
typically have to be in binder before you can get,
Yep,
you can get some permit, but you can't get releases until you get the binder, so.
yep.
Can we get a closer look at that? Yeah, I was gonna say, Mike, do you
Well,
have
we've
copies?
got, yeah, actually, we've got, I'm sorry.
That's pretty old, like,
It's in there, Will. So is the owner of the property that has the easement, are they here?
I do not know.
He's here.
He's
Okay.
Oh,
Easement? Yeah. Yeah. I'm just, I guess here's my concern. You know, say something goes terribly wrong and you suddenly disappear. Now we have a homeowner who has conservation issues and we're gonna start finding somebody. And,
I think we'd make sure we got it done one way or the other if I, you know.
Well, that's why we have bonds.
but that's why you have bonds, I know, that's where I'm heading with this.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be putting a bond, we'll be requesting a bond on this.
Okay.
So you're saying that you go after him because he has an easement?
Well,
I know you need a bond, but not from him.
no, not from the owner, from the contractor doing the work and whatever agreement they come up with.
Do we have bond for the whole road itself, the whole
Yeah.
section of the road, which is, you know, significant amount of work that has to be done. There'll have to be a bond posted for that, once they come to an agreement on the amount.
Where's the road
They won't
going?
release any lots either, right?
Where's the road going? It's starting right here on King Street to the right of number 48. And it goes to here and then 550 feet in, the center of it, then a turnaround.
How far is it off of 54?
54, which is right here. Scale.
What's the existing house?
Hmm?
What's the existing house?
That's the red one, that's the dark house. So you come up
Yeah,
with
the
the
tennis court in back.
Well, if you're on number 54, you've seen the stake that's right next to your driveway. From that stake, to the edge of the road, closest to the stake, is 130 feet. The center is about 145.
Yeah,
So it's 130 feet to the actual edge of the pavement on this side.
Okay.
It's being built.
And what is that between 54
This?
and, yeah?
Yes.
This is gonna be a suspension area where the catch basin is developed right in front of the driveway. It's gonna be redirected to go into this area so that it can be, the runoff can be held back and treated, and then it'll go down this swale to this other one and then out into the mountains.
So if there's a ton of rainfall, then that's gonna fill up with water.
It will fill up with water to elevation 136.3, which is the outlet, and the bottom is 135, so it's about 1.5 feet of water.
And about how far off the property line is that?
The top of the berm off the property line is about, well, where it's gonna fill with water is about 20 feet from the edge of the property
So you're
to
gonna
the
put
maximum height.
a man-made pond 20 feet off the property.
It'll, yeah, actually, the water already goes through there, it already comes into there's an existing outlet right here, and it goes down the side, we're gonna actually make it into a pond, it's gonna treat it and then retain some of it and then it'll go out. It'll be dry except when it's raining out. It's designed to drain.
Won't be any different.
Where's the
than
other
what it is
pond?
now, right?
The other pond is this green area here.
So when you say it's not gonna be any different, is it still gonna be,
All underground?
No, it's not in the ground, it's, right now, I believe it comes out and goes just off the property to a swale.
No, there's nothing there, it's just grass.
It's just.
It's just all grass.
Yeah, grass.
Right.
Those are all approved by the stormwater management plan, right?
The whole design of the drainage was approved by the planning board and reviewed by Camden Engineering during that process to make sure that it complies.
Let me ask a question. So those of you here that are neighbors of this project, were you aware that the planning board approved this in 2008?
No.
Did you live in Groveland in 2008?
No.
Yeah, well, if you didn't live in Groveland, then you wouldn't know about it. But did you live in Groveland in 2008 and not know about it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you should call the planning board.
You should
I
have
would
done-
call the planning board and tell them, why didn't you know about it? Because they have records of everything they sent out. And if they didn't send it to you, then you can take it up with the planning board, because you were supposed to be notified. You know, that's why we notify people.
I mean, show them the,
Question on the retention pond, who is, how is the maintenance gonna be taken care of on that?
During the construction, it'll be up to the
No, I mean,
contractor.
afterwards,
Afterward, once the roadway is accepted by the town will maintain it.
the town maintaining, the town responsible
Once
for
it's,
maintaining it?
which is why they review it in the planning work process with a consultant for the town, to make sure it's properly designed so that they know it's gonna work and that they can maintain it. And, yeah, it's up to the town to maintain, like every other drainage, it's in any road that's in town of Groveland, it's a public way, it's up to the town to maintain it once this becomes a public way.
so I would,
Ultimately, at the end of the process, we ask the town to accept the road as a public way, which is built over there.
so that's another planning board question, when they accept the roadways.
What if they don't accept it?
I'm more concerned about the
that-
retention pond right at the
Right.
moment, though, as far as cost-wise to the town, who's responsible for the maintenance of it.
Well, the
Well,
town, the town recently decided that the highway department is going to be responsible for all stormwater management on any town-accepted roads. It wasn't always this way, but recently they decided that that's what they were going to do. So now it's more consistent, because before it wasn't consistent. So this is fairly new.
And that's why I talked to the planning board and asked them, okay, well, at what point do you look, you know, does the developer ask for an acceptance? How quickly do you go through it, you know, all that kind of stuff? Because we have no control over when they accept the road or not.
Now, where's the water from the second pond go to?
It discharges to a pipe right in this area right here.
Yeah,
When it
so where's the
flows.
water gonna go?
It goes into the wetlands, flows out to the
Okay,
stream.
so now I abut those wetlands.
And we already had an issue with the Outland Drive road that started to be built and was stopped. Since that happened, our property has flooded all the time, and we spent thousands of dollars having it regraded, so it does not. So we're worried
Well,
about the issue with this again.
There's a rule, and Mr. Holt can probably explain it to you better than I, but there's a rule in any time, particularly when there's a subdivision built, that they cannot change the amount of water that comes off of that site from what it does now. So they have to do a lot of studying to determine how much is discharged off of that property normally, and then they have to assure us and also the planning board that they aren't gonna generate it, that's not gonna change either up or down.
And if it
so-
does,
Well, yes, then the town has to go after somebody about it.
So they wouldn't have approved it had they not agreed that the calculations and the design proves that it will not happen. There's about a 100-page hydrologic analysis which I got from Ford Engineering, who they had the plans originally, which was submitted to the planning board. Again, it was reviewed by Camden Engineering, who's their consultant for its accuracy and its compliance with the stormwater management and town regulations, which is for 2, 10, and 100-year storms. So during those events, which are 7 inches of rain for a 100-year storm, all the runoff from this roadway will be channeled through these catch basins into this pond, which is designed to accommodate and mitigate that additional water. This is why there'll be water in this when it rains out, and it'll fill up, and then it goes out to the pipe at the same rate that it is prior to the development of the property. So what we do as engineers, we study the property as it is today, the way it is, grass, the trees, the amount of pavement, the amount of houses, the way it flows. And then we redesigned the subdivision, and we calculate how much pavement, how many houses are gonna be on the property, how much impervious area, the changes from trees to lawn, all that affects how much water's coming off. We do the calculation after the fact, compare the two, the difference is what we have to obtain in this pond. And that's how it's designed to accommodate the runoff.
Our concern, at least for us here, is the two lots, there's three actually, but the other ones aren't here tonight, is we're a fair distance in elevation below there, and the runoffs from the lots, obviously, if you're changing it from a wooded area to lawns and driveways and whatnot, is what we're gonna catch on the lower side. I think there's what, 22 feet difference in elevation between the top, where the lots are, and our lots at the bottom on Cannon Hill Ave. I understand the road drainage and all, but, what our biggest concern is, and I don't believe it's ever been addressed, is what's gonna happen when that topography's changed at the top to our lots.
When we design these houses here, we have to design roof infiltrators for the impervious area of the building itself and also for the driveway. So we'll be designing, it's actually has been calculated out already for the 5 local lots, and has been tentatively designed. Obviously, we will adjust them for the actual house that's built and the actual driveway that's built. So we will be presenting plans with these calculations and showing the way we're going to mitigate the runoff from the impervious areas, which will hopefully address your concerns.
Well, we're kind of hoping so too,
Can we ask a clarifying question on that? So who's responsible then? So you said that you calculate those and those are part of the report. And then you do the build, and then you check it after? So I'm just looking for the unbiased check. Is that your responsibility then to check?
Well, I'm not on the planning board, but I know Hammond Engineering in this case was the third-party engineering corporation hired by the town to review the plans, and they go through and verify that his numbers, or whoever in the Port Engineering, that their numbers are accurate.
Yeah.
They don't, my understanding is they actually, I mean, it's more of a calculations based on the area and what kind of, drainage you have and impervious surfaces. It's not, I don't believe, nobody like sits there and like collects water samples or something like that where you can do a before and after kind of thing. Because I live right near there, it seems like you guys have flooding problems is what you're saying.
No, we don't.
Or you
But I
don't,
have
maybe
seen
you do.
similar situations
But-
where,
I guess where I'm heading is, okay, so the wetlands are generally the lowest point in the area. You're not only getting water from that part, you're also getting water from up the hill on Outlook and
King Street.
King Street, and all that's coming there, so, I can't speak to whether the calculations were done correctly. I have to believe that the third-party engineer verified them, but again, that's the planning board. They should have it, they'll get I've seen the reports before from Camet, they're very detailed, and they go into, whatever, this dimension was off by 6 inches, you gotta fix this, you gotta fix that.
I believe
Planning
there
board should be able to.
was 5 different reviews, letters back
No,
and forth.
Is that a current review though, or was there one done in 2008 when that was approved? And do you have a comparison between the two reports?
My guess, and this is a guess, is that before the subdivision plan is approved, they do it at that time. I don't think there's any rule that says now they have to go back and redo it again. I don't think so.
No, I mean the 2008, when the planning board originally approved this plan
Right?
that we didn't know about, was that same study done in 2008 so that you can compare what the current analysis is to what was done in 2008?
I don't believe
It's
you
the
didn't.
same analysis. We didn't do an analysis. We were relying on the one that was reviewed and approved by the planning board.
But that's the current one that was
The
just done.
2008 one is the current one.
It's the only one, yes.
It's the only one for the subdivision.
There's nothing more recent than 2008.
If we had done this application in 2008 for conservation, of course, the economy wasn't supporting the development. Had it been, if we probably would have done this in 2008, or possibly Port would have done it in 2008, we would have used the same calculations in the filing that way. We don't do it twice, because it's the same numbers for both
So-
permits.
Do you think it's any different?
I don't
I know that it's different,
think it's any different.
I
How's
know.
it different?
because I live on Garrison Street, and there's a brook that runs between our property and the neighbors. And when I was growing up, I lived in Groveland for 60 years, well, I live in Merrimack now, but I grew up in Groveland, and the brook never had water in it in the summertime. And now there's water there all the time in the summer.
And part of that's from
And
the
that
Outlook
happened-
Drive mishap, because that's why our property floods.
But when did that start happening?
About 2008.
2008, so what happened that made a
Well,
brook all of a sudden start?
I'm asking you because you guys are the experts on.
Actually, Terry, we can speak to that. So Sheila McAdams and I'm on Outlook. And when the project happened at the end of Juniper, we came before Conservation and we also came before Planning numerous times because despite all the water calculations, and I'm not questioning any of the engineering, we saw a very deliberate difference in the road, the water runoff on the road, which the road erosion happened quite considerably, and
And what
everybody's
was
aware
the
of it.
rough time frame of that?
It was 2006, 2007, because it was the build up top. There were also wetlands there that, and I believe the law is 3 years viable once you replant. And my question really is, they're not viable anymore. They weren't viable 3 years later, and that's why I guess I'm looking for the check and balance of that. There were certain things on the top project that weren't overseen. So it has us really nervous in our neighborhood about who oversees these steps on this project, and how consistently are they overseen and by whom?
Do you think the house, I've been there once for something totally different. I know that the person has a very long driveway going to the top. Does it seem like maybe the water off the driveway is coming down?
At the bottom, my driveway, the road at the end of my driveway is sinking, and I'm at 2 Outlook Drive.
So that's I think that's probably a planning board thing.
Well, the trouble is that they didn't file with us on that.
Right, well, they don't necessarily have to file to put a driveway in.
Before 2000.
Well, actually, it is planning board. We don't want to take you off on a different project. There were supposed to be culverts created at the end of that driveway that didn't happen, and we were back around. And of course, the wetlands issue was across the street from there, and we were back around numerous times on that.
Right.
So I think that the bigger concern is, where's the check and balance, and how do we manage that in a big project that's going to impact lots of people? That's what we're asking you.
As this moves forward, assuming we get permitted for conservation, in order to move forward with the planning board, there'll be a planning board review agent who will be on site to inspect the construction of the roadway as it's being done. Basically, they inspect everything. They inspect the drainage installation, they inspect the gravel, they inspect curbing, they inspect the utilities, they basically inspect the entire process.
The letter indicated that there will be trees removed. Where are the trees that you're going to be removing?
So obviously, anywhere there's a pond, there's gonna be, you can't have a tree in the pond, so there'll be.
Yeah, but how do we guarantee that you don't remove trees from our property?
Because this will all be staked out, surveyed, and there's a pipe here, there's a pipe here, and there's a pipe there, and I actually went out today, and there are several stakes on the line already right now. When we stake it out, we will be staking out this hay bale line, which is along the line, which is the limit of work, and they shouldn't be going over the hay bale line at all, which is on our property, on the client's property, on the subject property.
Where's the hay bale line?
The hay bale line is this pink line, it's right along the property line here, and it comes back into the property and goes up this way. That's to prevent sediment from going into the wetland.
Not there yet.
Not there yet, no. It will be in, that has to be before any work is done.
And how much,
Same over here,
what's your distance from that hay bale line to the road?
to
To the road you're putting in?
well, it's quite a ways away, because the road goes away, but it starts off at about, probably about 95 feet, and it gets out as far as 210 feet away. But this is to protect the work that's being done in the buffer zone and on the site.
The hay bales are there to prevent erosion of sediment into the wetlands. And because they're building a swale along there, they can't put the hay bales any further away than that. They have, we're gonna insist, because we always do, that they put it as close to
the work is possible. They have to swing backhoes and stuff around. So they can't put it right, 2 inches from it, but we're gonna insist that it's within a couple feet of that, as far away from the wetlands as possible, but also as close to the work that's being done as possible.
And the hay bale line does serve as the limit of the work, so no work beyond the hay bale line should be done. So obviously it becomes pretty clear when the machine drives over the hay bale, you can see that. So that would be an infraction that the commission would.
And I am so
Correct.
sorry that I came late, but can you review again if you haven't? So what are you talking about, an open pond, and what's the depth of that pond?
It's a detention pond, which would have water in only when it rains out naturally, because it's only collecting drainage, it's not being fed by any other means. The bottom of the pond is 129, the top of the pond is 132, so it's 3 feet deep, and it actually doesn't get that height, it actually gets to a maximum height of 131 and a half, so about 2.5 during the 100-year storm event, which is,
So lined with what?
it's probably, I believe it's grass line, it's just a grass,
So it's a divot, it's a 2-foot divot,
pretty much, yeah.
okay.
Which will be dry when it's not raining out, and then it's designed to drain in 24 hours, so.
It's basically there to keep the water from
72 hours.
rushing off, digging up a bunch of soil.
And we already have that problem, that's why I'm checking on what that is, because
Yeah.
that comes right into my property as well, and the neighbor's property.
So there's a detail of this if you wanna see it.
I'd
of
love to see
exactly,
that, yeah.
um,
And
that side of it.
so from a wetlands perspective, where are the laws and rules here that you're watchful of? What are you looking at?
We're looking at how close they do work to the wetlands, what they do to protect the wetlands during work and after work. And we have to, I mean, it's nice looking at this map, but we're gonna have to go there and
Because-
walk around,
Yeah,
and we're gonna, and talk about a lot. This meeting's not in tonight.
okay.
So,
And do you go, so your wetland demarcations are based off from the plants that are located there, correct? So do you do a plant survey?
Plants and soil.
Correct. Are you doing that survey? Who does that plant
it
survey?
was
Is
done
a
by
report
Mark Jacobs, apparently,
in 2008?
probably recently, right?
No, it's actually done in 2008.
We
Oh, it hasn't been
Could you
reflagged?
please check that again?
Yeah, I like that plan.
Thank you.
Was it reflagged? Yeah, I wasn't aware that they said it was reflagged.
Okay, so it was reflected.
Do you have the calculation for the number? I'm just looking at, based on this plan, they have like an existing tree line. What percentage of trees are you taking down in a 100-foot buffer in order to do the retention ponds?
I don't know that number, I can certainly come up with a number, that I haven't been able to calculate that number yet. I do know that along the line here to about here, this is in the open field, and then it
Right.
starts getting wooded in this area, so it is
It
where
really-
where the.
And have the dimensions of that been flagged? Where
No.
that's
The
been?
pond is, actually, I went out today to see a couple of stakes, that say top of berm and bottom of basin. But I didn't see all of them, so I'm assuming there's some missing, we'll have to
All right, yeah, we'd like to have that staked out just because,
But I also did see the wetland flags out there, so,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't actually walk this area, but I did walk this area, because I wanted to see exactly what it looked like before I meeting tonight.
And do the types of trees matter from a conservation perspective that they're taking
No.
down, or it's just percentage?
Percentage.
So what's the gist on that? You have to replant? You don't
No,
replant?
we basically, you're allowed to cut down a certain number of trees, we just don't want them clear cutting, is the goal.
Certain number of trees at a certain diameter, I understand?
They can't cut
It's
more than 40%
40%, yeah.
within the buffer zone of trees that are 2 inches or more
Yeah.
in diameter. But I don't think they're anywhere close. You're not anywhere close to 40%, right?
I don't believe so, but we can,
40% of the whole property?
Of the
Or 4%?
buffer zone.
What's in the 100 feet?
of the yellow area.
You might wanna look at that percentage then.
So you can't guarantee us that trees from our property won't be cut down?
No, they
should-
can't
Oh,
touch
oh,
your
they-
property.
they can't cut
shouldn't
your
be
trees
touching
down.
anything on your property.
What
They
we'll
better
do,
not.
we can request that all the trees they're gonna cut down be
Right.
marked.
So then you double check.
And then you double check.
Yeah, you can't cut down trees on somebody else's property.
No, but it does happen.
It does happen.
just because you can't.
Well, you guys are gonna hay bale, it seems like most of it.
Yes. Especially starting in the front, going all the
It seems like if you guys are just really obvious where the property line is, everybody's happy at that point, or at least aware of what where the line is.
There already are some, just I found this pipe and this pipe, they're already out there, there's a few stakes on the line that must have been done by Ford at some other previous point prior to.
And just for reference, I assume you folks are below,
We are, and I will just say there's a couple question marks about stakes, particularly
Yeah, particularly.
on a couple of
mine,
spots,
yeah.
so whatever you can do to check those would be terrific.
We used to have a metal post that was in the ground where, at the end of our property line, and that's now covered by grass debris from Mr. Duck. He dumps his grass debris on my property. And the metal stake that was there, I was out there this morning too, taking pictures, and I couldn't find it.
And what address?
To Outlook.
Outlook?
I would suggest, just because I went through something similar, if you have concerns about where your property line are, then you're more than welcome to, hire a surveyor and make sure you guys know where things are.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave, if you're that concerned, then leave it to chance.
So can I just ask a process question? So you said it's not over tonight, so run us through the process here.
So, we'll probably continue this to our next meeting. We'll probably have a site visit before then. So then potentially, that will uncover some more questions that we might have and issues. We'll study the plans a little bit more, and potentially at the next hearing we might close. And then we have 3 weeks to issue a permit, and once that's issued, then there's a 10-day period where you can appeal it to the Mass DEP, the Mass portion of the permit. And a Groveland permit, you'd have to go to Superior Court to appeal that.
And then once it finishes in your commission and
Yes.
you've okayed the project,
Yes.
from there it goes where?
Well, at that point, I suspect, but probably Mr. Holt can answer that, is they will be just about ready to start building, because it already has planning board, stormwater management has already weighed in on it, so there's really not too many, they're gonna have to line up the water and sewer department, but they'll probably be ready to go.
There's one other permit we have to get, the federal EPA permit, which we have to prepare us with, which we are in the process of working on. We want to get to mostly conservation first, and then we can submit that to EPA, which is really.
Yeah, that's the NIPD's.
Yeah.
and typically we'll also have a pre-construction meeting to make sure that they've put out all the, done all the things that we've outlined that they need to do, and that it's been done properly. And then periodically, we'll drop in and see how things are going. Particularly if there's been a big storm.
Right, and plus, as you said, we probably have a performance bond on the work, so that if for some reason there was a big storm came along and things weren't working the way the plan was thought to work, or something wasn't done right, then we have a bond to fix whatever needs to be done while the construction's going on.
Sorry to pin you, Mike, but I heard the word probably or we will.
No, I can't say, but we talked about it, so
Oh, okay,
I'm voting for a bond.
okay.
I think probably.
Big project, lots of neighborhoods.
The
Probably
word bond
the whole
came up
board will-
before this even started,
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, we only go into that bond if the applicant doesn't fix it.
Address the issue.
I mean, oftentimes they're on it ahead of time, and if not, usually a phone call is all it takes, and we work on it. It's more
Sure.
if they.
Then we start using words like fines, and
How do you
then
determine,
things happen.
how do you determine the amount of the bond?
No, we talked about
based on, well, we haven't talked about it, but usually based on the amount of work done, the size of the project, it's all sort of how much disturbing, I mean, we know.
It really is meant to be enough money to cover any problems. And, I mean, looking at this, there could be some problems,
But only
not
drainage,
huge problems.
only drainage and wetland.
Right, conservation.
Right.
Not some other board's problem.
Right.
So I have 4 copies of this. You're welcome to split these up amongst whoever wants them.
My only question is obviously, like I said, we expressed concerns way back when this had come up about, you know, who deals with it if there is any effect to the properties.
Wow.
On our end of it, it's not so much a wetlands issue.
Yeah.
We're not down on that lower part of it, but we are, like I said, about 22 feet lower in elevation
Yeah.
than the top. What happens?
Well,
There's wetlands at the top too.
it sounds like, for the most part, and I'm not trying to pass the buck, but it sounds like most of the issues that you could potentially have are gonna be planning board issues, not conservation issues.
Well, you might, I mean, do you have any idea how that's handled?
We can't speak for other boards.
Well, might I suggest while we're all here, that we write a letter asking the planning board to reopen for conversation around it? I mean, all they can do is say no, but
I
if
agree.
we do that, then.
Because we,
That's
like I
one
said,
of the
none of
other
us
ways.
were ever notified
None
that
of
the
us
plans were
were.
even approved.
I would ask them, can you show them the green?
We assumed it was a dead issue.
You should have gotten a letter where you signed a thing that you got it, and then that gets sent back to
None
the
of us
person.
did.
So could we check that?
Yeah,
The
you
planning board should have it.
You can
They're
go to the
supposed to,
planning board.
Super.
you're supposed to get the tear
And
off.
the other question is when you do the site walk, would it be possible to go along?
Well, we're gonna talk about that in a minute, so we'll see. Not
Okay.
necessarily.
And
but-
just a word of warning, don't wear shorts, there's an awful lot of poison.
Yeah, no.
The ticks are out already.
Ticks in,
Tom, is it certified only from the planning board? Because yours wasn't certified.
I'm not exactly sure how the planning board does it.
Okay.
I have to believe.
Yeah, no.
Although I'm believing, but I have
Yours
to
was
believe
not.
that they have.
We sent them
Just so you know.
a certificate of mailing, and I have the receipts.
For the recent letter? Or
Yeah,
for the
it's a certificate of mailing, it's proof that we mailed it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nowadays
yeah.
with tracking numbers,
Got it.
sometimes they use that. as well.
2008.
Right, that was the plan.
We probably didn't
Plan board
implement
advised
The letter that we got said 2 houses, what are there, 4 houses been approved for that?
There's 2 houses in our jurisdiction,
Yeah.
and that's all that we can address.
Oh, the wetlands on the other side, far away.
Yeah, it's far enough from the house, it's not to be required.
So we'll have concerns about when they do the drainage, the easement.
So you're looking at 2 and 4, Terry? Are the houses in your,
5 and 6.
Lot 5 and 6.
Yeah, these two.
oh, lot 5, I thought you meant what houses?
6?
Lots number 5 and 6.
Which abut?
Number 4, does that has to be?
That's outside of our jurisdiction.
Well, the work will be outside, we're not proposing any work back in this area.
How many homes are you putting in?
It's gonna be 5 new homes.
So lot 4 is
How come the letter said 2?
100
There are
feet.
2
houses
houses in our jurisdiction. We can only address what's in our
It's
jurisdiction.
conservation, not planning.
When people come to us and wanna talk about spotted owls, we can do nothing.
Is lot 4 is gonna be, it's gonna be 100 feet from that brook, correct?
Yes, yes. We're gonna be out beyond the.
More than
100
100
feet, yeah. It's gonna be up.
Would you point out lot 4 and 5 again?
This is 4, this is 5, this is 6. So these are the 2 we're talking about, that are gonna be having some work in the buffer zone, which is this yellow line. So the yellow line here is so far back that we're not gonna be back there with the work we're doing. With where we have to come to them to do it, so.
So all the stipulations that were attached to this when it was approved, the planning board has, or are they on here?
The last page of
Yeah,
that is the planning board subdivision. The last page of that is the accept the approval of the planning board.
So just a couple quick questions. The retention pond in the front, where is that going? Because right now there's a stone, like a little stone wall, I remember they made.
Right, in this area here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about where the pipe comes out and just goes through the grass, down along Doc's Lane now. And what they're gonna do is make this more defined so that it'll store it and keep it on the site and then let it go down another swale, which is gonna be more defined, more, probably this ditch and let the water flow down to this other ditch. Where it will be collected as well and treated.
And as far as the development, is that an association or is that gonna be public? Like, so if my kids wanted to ride their bikes down there, they're not gonna get kicked out?
This roadway, once it becomes a public way, yes, it's a town road.
If
It's
it's
a private
approved.
way until it becomes public.
Approved as a town road, if it's an approved
We
town
will
road.
most likely petition at the end of the road construction with an as-built and with an acceptance plan saying that we'd like the town to accept the road as a, what that means, the town then can get the chapter 90 money for maintenance and paving and all that for it. If they don't, then they don't get any money from the state to maintain the roads.
All right, so let's talk about a site visit. When
Probably
do
give
you
them
wanna do
a
that?
couple weeks to get everything flagged and,
Well, supposedly it's already, what,
Do you know,
I make sure.
do you know when it was free flag?
They have to flag pond for you,
Yeah.
do what it is, and you do the swale as well, center of the swale, you know what that is.
About Saturday, the 30th.
Can you mark the trees that you wanna take down by that point?
We can have the pond laid out, and then probably we can identify them.
That'd be good while we're there, just to.
Memorial Day weekend, and next. I don't think it gives them enough time to.
What about the first week in June?
the
Well,
6th?
30th or the 6th? Let's get awfully close to the next hearing.
I can do the third,
I can do the 30th. You're gone?
Right, so I'm saying,
But we at least want a commitment of a majority, unless that will give us a majority. If we get-
closest to the next meeting, we better do it before time to get these rain. So, the closest to the next meeting would be better. What do you guys think?
30th is fine. And Tom.
The 10th is the next meeting, right?
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
No.
The next meeting is the 17th.
Why?
Because I'm not here on it. And I know I changed it. It's 17th.
So you wanna be on the 6th?
I won't be here that week.
You won't be on the 6th.
No.
So we're changing next year.
Make it the 30th. Make it the 30th. Make it the 30th.
Yeah, the 17th.
17th of June for the next hearing, and site visit on the 30th.
Yeah, no, that's May 30th at 9 a.m.
That's Saturday.
It is.
All right, so
May 30th.
what do you say about the abutments?
Well, let's start with you folks. If it's okay with the Darks, is it okay with you? Promise no pitchforks, no torches or anything? I promise. That I'm gonna promise.
It's better,
Yeah, it's
it's
fine.
better.
Oh, it's fine.
If you can convince the Darks to allow it, it's better for everybody, because it just brings it along.
Right. Otherwise, it turns into another hearing and another hearing. You know.
So, but we can't, no,
So we can tell them.
We can take names and
Oh, yeah.
email
I
addresses.
would say that they have to find out.
Can we post it on the website?
yeah, we can post it as a,
Oh, yeah.
post it as a.
Okay.
When are you gonna find out about the replat? So, you call Mike.
Oh, yeah.
So we're good for the 30th. Everybody's.
So,
Yeah, so, yes, just, I need to know if the abutters can come on.
Yeah.
Say yes, and I'll check with the
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. All right, folks.
the wetlands, we're gonna ban the replat, it hasn't done it like last year.
Yeah, it should
Or,
be.
I mean, if it doesn't look adequately
If
flagged,
it's
then,
identifiable on the plan and you can see the flag, then that's fine.
yeah.
I don't care how old it is, as long as it's
Yeah, I mean,
identifiable.
if they're 7-year-old flags, they're probably a mess.
So I know, I just wanna, if we see, you know, we're sinking in mud 10 feet away from the flag,
We may disagree
we may
with,
disagree with the flag.
yeah, which is all right.
That's why we go walk around.
Yep, that's it. All right, so what we're gonna do is we are setting up a site walk, rain or shine. It's better if it rains, actually.
May 30th,
May 30th, and we're gonna,
9 AM.
if we get permission from the landowners, to have the public join us, we will post that on the Conservation Commission website.
Well, not, it will also post it on town hall, we'll post it.
As a meeting,
yes.
as a meeting.
Yeah, which has to be at least 2 days before, but we'll do it as soon as possible. As soon as we know that the public can come, we'll post it at town hall as a meeting for that date.
And so what does that mean, Mike? If the public can't come, it doesn't get posted as a public meeting?
Yeah.
And we meet you in the backyard?
Yes, right.
You just stand in
Right,
your property
see that.
and you show questions over the.
I don't take your coffee. Sounds right. That's right.
Usually, you know, it can go either way. If someone owns it, you know, they may be worried about a
we're
bunch of
fine. It's
public trooping around and somebody
It's
gets
all right.
hurt and they're gonna get sued or something, so, that's why people don't do it. But we like to have the public there, so, because it makes the whole process more transparent. All right, so, I think, and so we're gonna have another hearing on June 17th. You certainly are all welcome to attend. We'll be here, same time, 7:30 on June 17th. And we'll be discussing further questions that we have, stuff that we identify on the site visit. And in particular, we'll be talking about conditions that we plan on putting on the permit, like the marking the trees, or the erosion controls, or the bond issue. All of that stuff we'll talk about that night, so that we'll be prepared to close the hearing and issue the permit.
Mike, would you rather move it to the town hall where the people can sit down, or?
Yeah, I think you'd rather.
Yeah, I think it'll be better.
Is that room available?
But I could try first, you know, yeah.
Wednesdays,
Yeah, Wednesday's a pretty good night.
yeah, well,
And then we can
we'll
put it,
try,
we can put it out
I'll
live
see if it's
so that they
available,
don't
and
have
if it's
all that
available,
stuff.
yeah, book it first,
I'll book
Julie.
it.
You can always call Ann Brody and ask her what's posted on the board for meetings,
Yeah.
where, and all that kind of stuff. She would
Thanks.
know, you know. But it's also on the board in town hall.
If they do it at the town hall, I'll put it on the TV live so everybody don't have to come, or whoever wants to
Oh,
watch
we'd
it.
love to come. Don't take where?
All
That's
right.
Mike, he likes a big audience.
We should probably also let people know there are 2 vacancies on the Conservation Commission. And if there are concerned citizens
Count as much as ours.
who would like to participate in this process, let us know.
That's how we typically get a lot.
That's how I got sucked into this.
I would say also, if you have questions ahead of time, you can call us. Just, you know, we may be able to answer, or we may have to get some other information, so it might be helpful to be able to track that down ahead of time, if at all possible.
All right, so I'll move that we continue the hearing until June 17th.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so we will see you on June 17th.
30th.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll see you on May 3rd. Yes.
Yeah, we can let it on.
Why don't we
send a letter?
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Still like it, no.
No one hit you.
Why don't you give me those things back?
These?
Unless you want to take it, if you want to take it for the.
I'm gonna take it.
You doing?
She did. Yeah.
Oh, no, I appreciate it all.
Yeah, I had posted something from all 3 hearings in her office on the board when I, not that anybody saw them, but that's what you should do. Okay, the next one we're gonna talk about is hearing on 213 Washington Street, septic for a replacement home to be built, the septic being in the buffer zone, I believe.
This is just septic?
And,
No,
yeah, the house is, part of the house and the grading is in
the septic is actually outside of.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, so it's actually the opposite of what I said.
Yeah.
Yes, so
I was confused.
open the hearing at 8:29, Julie.
Just need to add the green cards on the white cards. Sign up for finance department. Thank you.
What's this?
Oh, that's the building permit, so that's the sign off.
Oh, we gotta sign this. Yes, we need to sign this.
Right, but we were asking, is that's not, you get a different sheet before the hearing from the finance director?
Oh, yeah, they got that, that's it.
Okay, fine.
All right, yeah, sorry.
It's duplicative.
Yeah, hold on to
Do I
that.
keep this? Are we gonna sign it or?
Aren't you gonna sign that?
Maybe,
Yeah, we'll let
maybe.
Terry sign.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Terry's in charge of that.
Tired of trailer living?
Okay, so, I think we got everything we need here, I don't think they owe us anything. Yeah.
Good evening, my name is Jim Scanlon. I'm here on behalf of Roy Logan and Marie Sanchez at 213 Washington Street. The property is located on Washington Street, right? It has Johnson Pond on actually 2 sides of it. The third side is Washington Street. It's next door. They're here before you. They had a 3-bedroom dwelling and garage that burned down. And they're here filing a notice of intent to construct a new dwelling, garage, roadway, and utilities to be drawn within the buffer zone of the wetland associated with Johnson Pond. They are also installing a septic system, although it is outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. The proposed dwelling is to remain a 3-bedroom.
Yeah, that's the original roadway too.
Yep, and what's that?
That's the original roadway, the original driveway.
No, he's talking about the.
Oh, okay, oh, okay. Sorry about that, yeah.
The dwelling is shown here in brown. We're proposing a portion of the new driveway shown in the black that goes up to the garage located right in there. The edge of wetlands were delineated by Julie Von Drock, I believe, last October. And it's shown in the light blue, and then the dark blue is the 50 and the 100-foot buffer zones. I guess I would open it up to any questions that you might have.
So I know, we went out a couple weeks ago.
We did everything you guys wanted us to do,
Yeah.
so.
Several weeks ago. So there was some concern with the new driveway portion coming around the back, and I think you were gonna try and curb it.
We did modify it, yeah. We pulled it, we shrunk the radius down to pretty much
Tightened it
as much as we could.
as far as you turn that steering wheel, huh?
You're gonna be driving off of
Right.
it.
Do you know what the old number was? From the edge of the turn to the,
I don't.
I wanna say it was like 25.
I think
It may have been 23 or 25.
Because you're up to 37 now,
No, we're 37, oh, I see
Yeah,
what you're
up
saying.
to.
so. Yeah, you guys, you moved to the bunch, yeah.
Which is, well, is not much closer than the existing garage.
Right,
Or the
it was like a shed or something.
burned down garage.
Yep.
It's actually not quite as close as that was.
Right.
What's the 37 feet to?
The edge of the gravel drive.
And it's 54 to the house, right?
Correct.
Yep. Okay, thank you for doing that.
And it looks like most of the house got moved even further away.
Yeah.
We did slide the house a little bit to give us a further separation to the wetlands.
Thank you for doing that too.
Which in turn pushed the septic system and got it totally out of the buffer zone. So,
And thank you for doing that too.
That's what we're trying to do, is, you know.
Yep,
Trying to get it out.
yep. All right.
And the whole, so there's the existing paved drive and then the new stuff is gonna be gravel?
it'll be the existing driveway comes up to about here. Actually, part of the driveway, I believe, is off the lot, which we're not touching.
Right,
Right where it hits the lot, the existing driveway curves in like that. We're actually gonna be bringing it out around a little bit.
Yeah,
Right, and I
stop
think-
at about
yeah,
here.
because that was all paved, I believe.
Yeah.
Right now, the driveway, the entire driveway is paved.
Right, so just that side around the back is gonna be gravel, and it's all lawn-ish right now anyways.
You're gonna have to change the grading a little bit though, right? 'Cause if I remember, it drops just a little.
I think it's pretty, it may be a little bit of, on the gravel side, of the drive, there may be a little bit of
Yeah, a foot.
Mine,
It's not
yeah,
much.
right.
It's a foot.
Do you have hay bales marked anywhere?
I do,
Or-
they're right here,
Is that the?
dotted line.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a line
That's
with little dots on it.
Yep. So I personally, I'm fine with silk fence, because I think it's a pretty flat lot.
Silt fence, hay bales?
Or I mean,
Filter stock.
Filter stock. If that
Yeah.
is easier, but I mean, that's my opinion.
Well, we can just say,
What do
why
you want to do? Do you want to do filter
don't
something?
we just say either or and let them decide?
Yeah,
Let them
that's
decide.
I know filter sock is a lot more expensive up to a certain point, and then it becomes.
All right. So
We're
we'll say
we're gonna leave it open for your decision.
Okay,
'Cause
so
we
either-
don't, for this particular property, we don't care.
So either
So whatever you feel like doing, as long as it does what it's supposed to do,
Okay.
then
As
we're,
long as it's not nothing.
Yeah.
well, maybe a little better than not.
Is it filter sock or silk fence and hay bales?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you got quite a bit here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
You may wanna,
the silk sock
you
maybe.
might wanna make the big snake.
Yeah,
And if you think there's some areas that could use a hay bale, feel free to throw it in there, but in addition, I mean,
Yeah, if you got like a low,
I think in the, well, typically, let's see. I think it would make sense to have some hay bales on site just in case.
just to patch up,
When they're doing the work,
yeah,
if they have
if they cut something,
get some heavy rains or something, and
yeah,
they have mounded dirt or.
or they hit it with a backhoe and rip it,
The
yeah.
other thing is called the filter sock.
I think what did
yeah, some people prefer to do that because it's cheaper, but it all depends.
Well,
And sometimes we don't allow it because the site is so steep or there's so much work being done, we're concerned that the socks are only.
We don't trust
big.
We've changed our minds though, I think, because we didn't allow a period, but now
We're coming around,
We've seen where they work that well.
we're
Yeah.
cautious.
and the technology is coming a long way since even back then.
Yep. All right,
All I want is a pre-construction meeting.
Yeah, well,
That's
that's
the only other
standard.
thing, yeah,
That's
than that.
standard. So, who went out there, during the site visit? What was that date of the site visit?
it was like late March.
Yeah, it was a while ago, it was.
Yeah.
'Cause I
I
was
think it
gone most of
just
April.
before the last hearing, like, it was too close to the last hearing.
Well,
to-
it was, you went to see 268 Washington Street.
It was 2
I think.
It was
weeks
the same day.
before.
It was
2
the
weeks
Friday.
before.
Friday night.
Yeah.
'Cause that night I wound up in the hospital. They said I was so stressed out.
So,
You guys.
Us? Us?
It was because you didn't
I
have
was
electricity
so-
that
Most
night,
people
that's
are
what
happy
it
to
was.
see us.
Got to scan everything, they gave me the whole works. That was a mess.
I may have it on my computer and,
I think Jeff's got it.
Is it in the minutes?
I don't think that's a specific date. I think it says something like, or actually, I didn't know if they made it. I think it was unofficial because because you came in on a Monday night.
Yeah,
That's why
right.
we said, oh, we should take a look at it. It wasn't even, they hadn't come in for a hearing yet.
But check the hearing, the visit for
It was on a
268
Friday,
Washington.
wasn't it?
It was Friday evening.
Yep.
March 27th.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
I'm not seeing it on
March 27th.
All right, so,
Is it on
anyway, so my question is,
Was it on?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking for it.
so my question is, what did you see on the site? What do you think the impact, is there any new impacts? Obviously, the old house was there for many years, but do you see any new impacts, less impacts when you were there?
The gravel drive was really the largest concern because it did get
It was pretty
slightly
close.
closer. And we asked them to move it back as much as they possibly could.
Okay.
We also asked that it be impervious instead of
Yeah.
paved.
And it is pretty much grass now.
Yeah,
It's not like it's virgin forest or something.
yes, it's right, it's maintained area,
So I think the stuff they've done is
all in the right direction.
all in the right direction.
I don't think there's any trees coming down in the buffers.
No, I don't think so.
No additional trees coming down, that's good.
No, I don't want to come if I don't have to.
Yeah, there's one, but it's outside.
Right, there's one for the septic, for
the house.
house, one for
Yep.
the septic.
All right.
What else do we need here?
I can't think of anything else. And we have no butters here objecting to it, so.
So you guys know about the November 1st deadline?
Do we have a?
Do we ever?
I think you're.
You have a couple, you have a
They
couple
cut
of
us
your
off
own.
deadlines too.
They're dying to get this.
No,
done.
I know, I just,
He
All right.
said we'd be in by October.
Let's
We
not
can
hold them
start
up.
in June.
Let's not hold them up any
The
longer.
insurance company's got to pay for it after November, 2 years are up. They said, that's it, we don't, you're out of luck.
All right, I
No money.
move to accept this, proposed rebuild with the new plans that have been submitted to us and with the conditions that we've discussed
Standard
about the
conditions.
standard conditions, about the erosion controls and pre-construction meeting and the usual.
Second.
Okay, any questions? You got that, Julie?
I have a question.
Yes.
When does the pre-construction meeting have to take place?
Before construction.
Well,
No, no, no.
well, here's what will happen next.
If we want to start June 1st,
Yep.
Foundation.
The erosion controls need to be in place.
But first, see, what will happen is, we'll say we're gonna approve this tonight. We have 3 weeks to produce the permit. So that's gonna bring you,
Up to 3 weeks.
Beyond-
It could be sooner.
well, that's gonna bring you beyond, maybe around June 1st, we'd be issuing the permit. Then there's a 3-way,
There's an appeal period.
10-day appeal period
or
where
who?
the public.
Anybody who wants to say, I object.
Okay.
Now, some people say, nobody's gonna object, and they just go right ahead.
At your own
That's up to you, whether you want to wait for the appeal period to finish, or whether you can say, it hardly ever happens.
But there's nobody here, so,
Yeah.
likely,
Right.
you're not
And
gonna
you
get.
did get everybody notified.
Oh, yes,
okay, fine.
absolutely.
Yep, we have evidence.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So,
So what do I tell our builder?
well,
Start putting the bills out, or whatever.
yeah,
Actually, yes.
yeah, he can do that,
That
get
work can
ready.
happen before the order is issued, right?
Yeah, we'll let that, normally we don't, but
Oh,
we
okay.
will. So have that ready to go. I'll try to get the permit written up in the next couple weeks or so. And with that in mind, that you wanna start, you'd like to start June
Tomorrow.
1.
Last week.
What is that? How many weeks from now is that?
Today, it's 18 days, is 2.5 weeks.
Well, you know, getting the signature is the tricky part, but I only have to get.
Drive by your house every
It's
day.
only two signatures.
I'll go get the signatures, I'll drive anywhere.
All right.
Please.
All right, so we'll do our best to try to get, so keep that June 1st date, all right?
Okay.
And I will do my best to try to write it up, then we'll get the signatures on it, and then you have it. And as soon as I send you that, we can set up the pre-construction. You know,
Okay.
theoretically, we could have the pre-construction meeting on June 1st.
Okay.
You know,
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay.
We voted?
no, not
We
yet.
haven't voted, don't thank us yet.
I know, but still,
There could be some rogues that vote nay.
Any other questions then? No? Okay, all right, I guess we're ready to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain, okay, unanimous, that
All right, now you
passes.
can thank us.
Okay.
I'll have you gentlemen know I had strict order to keep my mouth shut.
Exactly.
And you almost did it, you were so
Yeah.
close.
I know.
You did very well, or he would have
In
ended
fact,
up
he's
in the
got me reading
hospital
this
again.
book.
Ah.
All right, so we can sign that building permit.
All right, yeah,
So
yeah.
now do we go and get all the other
Yeah,
times?
yes.
Yes, you do.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Do yourself a favor, because
Do people always put you sort of ring like that in half an hour?
you gotta get
Sometimes.
actually, I think the new fire chief may be more accessible.
I know.
Yours is probably easier, because it's a brand new house, so they know you gotta do all the new stuff.
My father did.
Cut it?
Julie, can you,
Do you have a stretch,
make us a
do you
quick
know
copy?
whether you guys have a stretch energy code, do you know about that?
I don't think so, because we just had a question
Oh,
about the stuff we gotta do in this building, and they had the same exact question. And they didn't tell me the deal, so I don't need to
Yeah.
go for
I have
the
no wish back.
Okay.
So she's
She's
making
just making a copy for our records.
Oh,
Give me all the stuff that goes with this.
Just match it later.
We don't need this, please give it to me.
so wait,
I think we could get you a gavel.
do it then.
I got one.
Now, what do we,
Hey, for those loud crowds. It's so rare, I love when we have.
Yeah, like,
to do any work? Because we took down the house.
know.
No.
I did my time.
Oh, okay.
Don't believe what you say.
I believe
7 years ago.
That was 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Order of
Very
conditions.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
They could have sent out a notice, there could have been a hearing.
Oh, no, I'm sure they did.
So
But I
we need for the
rules, I
foundation.
think if they tried to move it for like 2 or 3 times, and
It's
then
just
it's
been
there, and
the
it just
septic
goes back, and they hand in the letter and say, it was.
Couldn't, yeah.
But if they didn't notify them, they have grounds to.
Oh, right.
Appeal the whole
So
thing.
if it were me, I'd go see it and say, what the heck went on here?
Right,
I'm assuming
I spoke with him, Mike, I saw him on the other side.
No, they do, I'm surprised.
You know,
The
explain.
photocopy machine is around?
No,
He
it's
knows what he
in,
needs to do, but,
it's in
Is
the
it still
DEC
locked?
office. You have to go all the way through,
Yeah, but it's not open, right?
no, don't worry about that, I'm not too concerned about that.
Okay.
Here, put it in front of the camera.
Now what I do? Oh.
And let them have their,
Read that plastic thing.
Oh, thank you very much.
If you think of it one time when you're in town hall, when you're getting the other signatures, just take that into the copier right by the front door.
Yeah.
Make a copy, and then on the right-hand side, by the tax collector, is all these cubby holes with mailboxes, and the bottom one in the middle is conservation.
Oh,
something, just bring,
Oh,
just
You-
bring it to
all right,
Dan
I
and
can
then
give you
copy
another,
it.
I have another copy of this, do you want to sign
No,
it?
no, we want the one that has the signature, just when you're in town hall, just, it doesn't have to have all the
You know,
signatures.
everything you've done.
All right.
just our signature.
Just throw it in there.
Then let's go.
If you forget, worst case,
All right, thank you.
July's gonna be hard for you, so.
Okay. Go so everybody else can get their business
Okay.
done.
Take 200.
Thank you. Okay, you're welcome, thank you.
Oh, don't forget your stuff, sir.
An ice house on that property, where they used to take the horses, they used to cut the
I'll
ice.
take it, don't
And
worry.
they would put,
19th
for
century?
summertime,
Yeah.
take the horses and drag the ice off there, I'm going way back. You know, when Washington Street was a dirt road,
Alright.
almost a hill.
All right.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you,
I
sir.
thought I got something to say.
Take your books, take your
Books
things,
and your plans.
let's go.
All right.
Nice saying a few words to you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Camera.
Oh, Zal said hi. Chuck,
Oh, thank
Zal
you.
said,
Oh,
he told me to say hi,
thanks.
all right?
Tell him hi back at him.
All right. So we're ready for the next hearing, which is for septic system at 868 Salem Street. And we'll open the hearing at 8:47. So, the Johnsons are having a problem with their septic system. I went and visited the septic system back in, October or November, and actually issued an emergency order on it, but they had a problem locating a contractor to do it, it just kind of ran out of time. So we both agreed, when I spoke to them, that they'd wait until the spring to do something about it. So. Mr.
I have
Johnson's-
the letters sent out.
Correct.
Just go there. Thank you. And I don't know if you guys need that list too.
Yeah.
That doesn't hurt.
All right.
Do you have does somebody have a plan? Or can you describe the property, Mike?
It's an existing septic, and all we're doing is pretty much redoing it.
Is that the house on the right when you're coming
Two
from
houses
Nichols
before-
before Chesterton?
2 houses before Chesterton, yes.
On the right-hand side?
Yes.
So the wetlands is probably the brook that goes,
Well, actually, the brook is not considered wetlands, is it? Is it behind? Because the brook is the runoff from the sewer.
It's an intermittent stream.
Yeah, it's pretty much runoff from.
It's in our jurisdiction, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But there are wetlands further back.
Further back,
You know,
yes.
More wet, actually, the septic system is closer to the wetlands than it is to the stream.
Yes, it's on the other side of the house, towards 866 Salem Street.
So do you have a contractor yet?
I do believe we have a contractor, it is Fry.
Fry?
have they worked in the town before?
Yeah, I think so. They're not frequently in town.
It doesn't ring a bell, but.
Yeah. Did they say, are they putting in like the same kind of system that you've got now, nothing special, right?
No, nothing special.
Yeah, so they're basically gonna redo
Redo
what's
redo
already
what's-
there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, cause there's not a lot of room to change it anyway. And it's as far away from the buffer zone, you know, it's in the buffer zone, it's as far away from the wetland buffer as you can get.
Are you on town water or is it well?
Town water.
Town water.
So when do they think they're gonna do it?
You know, I wish my wife stuck around and I took my dog around because she's been calling contracts as well at work, but she took her, I would say as soon as we get them approved.
Okay, so
Yeah,
they're
so
ready
it's
to go.
because we were on emergency back in October, November,
Yeah,
and would have liked to get it done then, but ran out of time, so.
But here we are.
Yes.
so what are you thinking? I mean, normally we have the septic company's plans in front of us,
Yep.
but,
I think we could handle that in a pre-construction meeting.
yeah, so I think so
On site, and
too.
just-
I don't think
and if-
we need to hold it up.
I mean, I would say if they don't, basically, we just wanna make sure there's no, any building.
Because they've got to,
have leverage as long as we.
yeah, they've got to go through the Board of Health you know, they gotta submit those plans.
Oh,
to
so
Board of
after,
Health.
we have to see plans at
Yes,
some point.
and we're gonna have to sign
Yeah.
off on it through the
Yeah.
Board of Health anyway, so
Alright.
I think we can approve it tonight. I can get the permits all in the process of being written up, that won't hold him up. And then by the time he gets the plans from the septic company, it goes through Board of Health, it'll all come together.
So just make sure on the plans they put where they're gonna put the erosion control,
Okay, yes, so,
just so it's clear.
and that's hay bales or whatever it is.
Well, do we have an opinion on this one? Do we remember?
It's
I don't know what the.
relatively flat. It's-
Then we don't care.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, whichever.
Well, when we did the addition, we did the hay bales alongside
Yeah.
alongside the very back border and alongside the brook.
Yeah.
So, so.
We're gonna leave it up to you to decide which you want.
Yeah, whatever the
Okay.
next ones are.
Which one?
Whatever is less expensive.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything unusual about the site. You know, I mean, it's tight. It's tight, but there's not really much, you know, you couldn't move it further away,
Right.
you know, and they've got a swimming pool.
We got a place where
there.
they can put it, and that's where it's gonna go.
Yes, right,
Okay.
right, exactly, so I don't.
Move
think
to
there's-
approve.
Okay.
Someone's hungry.
I had lunch. Any seconds? Second.
Yeah, so the motion is to approve the plans
As
that we,
discussed.
as discussed, with typical
Erosion
conditions, yes.
Pre-construction
And
Yes,
subject to
Board of
our,
Health.
subject to
review of
sign off
the-
on Board of Health plans.
Okay.
That would give us an out if for some reason we had to, but I have we got all that, Julie?
What was the last name? What, how?
Subject to
Review of
review
plans
the
from
Board of Health. And Jeff seconded? Yeah. All right, any questions then? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, okay, unanimous. All right, so I will get working on writing up, and this is only a local permit, so you don't have to wait for a DEP number or anything.
Okay, great.
So, I'll get working on that, I should have those to you in a couple weeks, and, in the meantime, get Fry to submit his plans to the Board of Health, and then the Board of Health will give us those plans,
Okay.
and we'll sign off.
So just do it right now.
Yeah, yeah. If you got any questions, just call.
Excellent, all right, thanks a lot, man.
All
Thanks a
right.
lot, Jess.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care.
And then there was
Alright.
one.
Yes. You missed all the fun,
Yeah, there were pitchforks and torches for somebody not going after you.
Yeah, drew a big crowd.
Ran into the meeting out in the hallway.
The post-meeting?
Yeah, you were swept up.
Well, it's a thankless job, I'll tell you.
That's true,
I've been there.
We actually got thanked twice tonight, so we're feeling pretty good
Yeah,
about
that's
ourselves.
true.
We may stick around for another month.
All right. So, first, we're gonna do two things here. First, we are gonna talk very briefly about the movement of the floats and what's been done since our last meeting. I'll give you a quick update on that, but it's pretty straightforward. And then we're gonna continue the hearing, which we really didn't do much more than open on the RDA that was filed.
Mike, I wanted to, I have a check for you on that and also sign off from the finance director.
Good.
Wow, we
So-
like that part.
And also the update on the front of the building that was requested.
Yeah, okay, terrific.
So that, I think that covers the base, at least
Yes.
Larry told me it would.
All right, so as far as the floats, you know, we did our site visit on April 18th, if you all recall, and we came to a timetable. So I documented all that we had requested about where the floats were going to be moved and the timeline of when they were going to be moved. and that was sent to everybody concerned, including the ZBA, Mr. Noy's attorney, the Realty Trust, and Larry Hawkins. So that all went out, and, you know, I didn't get any feedback that they didn't agree with it, so that was good. And, since then, the floats have been moved. 2 of the floats were moved to where we had requested they be moved to, and 1 of them was moved to in front of building 109, 108,
Right.
sorry, where it's currently gonna be worked on, has the next month and a half to be worked on, and the condenser and compressors and everything that was outside the building. So, I think that's all good news.
Yay.
Yes. So does anyone have any other questions about that? Everything seems to be going right along with the plan.
And he started work on that first one, or he's about to start work, or
No, actually, that just happened yesterday.
it just got moved?
Just got moved
Okay.
yesterday. So, but everything is progressing on the schedule.
On the timetable that we
timetable.
laid out, so far so good.
And, I think if it was me, I would try to do it a little more aggressively, but, you know, I've been communicating with him, and he's done a pretty good job. You know, everything has happened the way it was outlined, and that's working.
We
So-
can't tell him to move faster until he misses a deadline.
Yeah, and
Then we can tell him to move faster.
I just communicated with him, and I said, okay, now, the next move is one of those has gotta be gone by a certain date, so I wouldn't wait till the last week or so. Let's get it done, and hopefully.
Hear, hear.
Hopefully it starts moving the timetable up. But it is progressing, and I believe that, we've got a good time slot, so if it doesn't happen, it's a different ballgame, so.
When's the next date?
July 1.
Yeah, June 30th or July 1, it's
July.
whatever. I don't think I'm gonna split a hair there. I'm not gonna be.
In the letter, I think July 1.
Okay. So, that's good news, thank you.
Yes.
It is good news.
All right, so any other questions on the status update? Okay, hearing
No.
none,
So,
then,
Hearing none.
There was a question when we were there, I know the compressor and the,
I think Mike said they were moved.
No, they were moved, and then I think we had asked about, what was inside of one of the floats, because it was something, it was in the minutes again, it was like a Coke machine or a soda machine, and that didn't have anything in it, no refrigeration, because of the ice.
It was just ice.
Was there, am I misremembering something?
I don't know, Mr. Bush, you tell me.
It was mentioned again in one of these minutes.
That's the more recent, that's the more recent.
Yeah, this is this one. Anyway. Oh, it said Grimm would like an assessment of any liquids or chemicals and what type of repair work will be done.
That was me.
Was you? Was that in reference to the compressor? And
Yeah.
Is that, you were the one who found it, right?
Oh, probably.
No, I mean, I'm looking,
I mean, it sounds like someone had fun.
so it's been moved, though, so we're all fine with it?
it's inside.
So I care much less than I did
Okay.
a month ago.
We're awesome then.
All right. All right, are we ready to move on?
Yes, sir.
All right, so now, we're gonna open the hearing at 9:02 on a continuation of the request for determination of applicability, GRDA, on the request regarding fencing, changes to building 108. I believe that's it. Yeah, open it up.
I will. These are plans dated March 12th of this year.
So those should be the same ones we had?
Probably the same ones.
Okay, let me read this to you because it does a better job than me in explaining what they want to know. Here's what it says, the work description that we're trying to make a decision upon. There are a few non-paved areas of the site that have experienced some erosion during some of the heavy rains of last fall. The applicant is proposing to stabilize these areas to avoid erosion in the future. In the areas shown on the plan between buildings B107 and B109, we are proposing to cover the ground surface with a 4-inch thick layer of recycled gravel. Along the embankment of Johnson's Creek, the applicant would like to stabilize approximately 1,500 square feet of the side slope with angular riprap. The applicant also desires to repair existing fencing along portions of his property and close in building B108, right?
Yes. And I wanted to ask you another question, because in building 107,
Yeah.
now, I'm not changing anything there, but I am replacing some of the doors, but I wouldn't think that I have to,
No, I don't think we
I
can.
just wanted to throw it out there, just,
As long as you don't take the old ones and throw them into the creek, how does that sound?
no, not like that.
All right, so,
Did we have any constraints on this recycled gravel? Because I know we were a little concerned about whether asphalt and stuff was gonna be showing up.
I think we were very,
4-inch thick layer.
Did we want to?
no, we were very clear, no recycled asphalt.
Oh, we want new gravel?
Well, no, gravel's
Oh,
fine.
recycled gravel that shouldn't contain asphalt.
Right, and I know Larry, I thought we were very clear with him that we don't want recycled asphalt there. That's how I remember.
Okay, well, we can
It
put
doesn't
that
have
in
any
here,
gravel or
say,
gravel.
Yeah.
We just don't want a bunch of full driveway crap ground up and
recycled
leaching into
gravel
our.
shall not contain asphalt.
There's enough of that down there.
Is this updated or is this the same?
This is the same.
It's a small thing, I don't know if your name is misspelled on this. On the determination of applicability. It's Eric Happer.
Oh, yeah.
Small thing.
Throw it out, just.
No, we'll have to continue this hearing to June 17th.
All over.
We're gonna keep the check though.
He's gonna write us a check too, whoever Eric Happer is.
All right, anything else about this? Remember, I think we were pointing out all those areas where they want to cover up when we were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
It
we
makes
saw,
sense.
there wasn't anything we saw that was disturbing. Right?
So, all right, so we don't have anything about that then, and let's talk about the next thing. The embankment along Johnson's Creek. Now recall that we did do some stabilization work very well, I believe, back in, whenever that was, February, January, I think. Yeah, it was way back then, under an emergency order. So this would be a continuation of that to further stabilize the side slope of Johnson's Creek. So I mean, I think that's good.
So throwing out the question, because it was an emergency order,
Yeah.
is that why we're not going through the GNOI?
Well, I mean, this
I
is
mean, what
kind of a, this is a matter of opinion on how we're doing this. We could just say, oh, we think that this should be all filed under a notice of intent, or like we have in the past many times, under an RDA, we just issue the.
Right. And I have, like, the fence, I have no issue doing that on an RDA, but when I look at like the other meeting, we had 2 meetings, one was pretty significant amount of work they're doing, but they all filed GNOIs and NOIs. We did the Washington Street, has a couple of piers in the ground, and they're 48 feet away from the wetlands, and they're doing an NOI.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to,
Consistent.
be consistent with everybody in the town.
But it isn't, because, if you recall, many of the lots in Stonebridge were filed under RDAs. So we've done it before. it's a judgment call.
Right, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no,
My
understand.
gut feeling is that if you were just coming for the riprap, it would be a GNOI because you're right on the water. I wasn't around, I don't remember why, it was not an emergency, but I can see if it's like stuff about.
There was a tree, the pipe was broken, and there was like trees ready to fall in, so we thought that it was.
What did we do for, when they put all that riprap on the Merrimack, on Main Street on, what was that number? It's like 180 or something. Remember on that stretch where all the houses are right on the river?
Yeah.
And they stabilized the bank. This was like 8 or 9 years ago. Oh, come on, you've been around much longer than that.
Remember that?
That was also, didn't they rebuilt their parking area? That was like hugely significant, wasn't it?
Anyway, I don't even recall a hearing on that one, but.
Well,
This is a small section, it's only like another 30 feet.
No, I know, and the only reason I ask is, you know, like I said, the people right up here on the street, they're putting in 2 or 3 sonotubes, and we made them file a GNOI, and you know, here you are, you're right on the creek, and you're, I would argue moving more dirt, you know, so it's.
Let's go through the rest of the things, and then we can decide what should be done.
Of course.
You know, because the purpose of an RDA is to say, really, is to decide, is this something that should be filed for or not? So we're gonna come down to that once we look at each one of these things. So we talked about the first one of placing riprap to stabilize some of the areas against erosion. Now we're talking about the bank of Johnson's Creek, putting riprap along that to further stabilize it. In my opinion, I think that we want to do this because it helped in the other area, and that bank seems to be open to a large amount of erosion due to water flow that comes down that creek. And so riprap can only help there, I believe.
Well, I don't think any of us.
Yeah, I don't think
any of
anybody's
us
against it,
are.
it's just whether we need to have a file or not.
Well, no, but we're not talking about that. First, let's just focus on the 4 things that they want to do, and then we're gonna have to talk about whether they're fileable or not.
No, I think it's reasonable, but
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah, so it's not something that we think shouldn't be done.
No.
No.
Okay, good. The next one is the desire to repair the existing fence along portions of the property, which I believe are marked on that plan.
It's on the Wharf Drive side, correct?
No, it's on the.
Well, it's in a couple. There's a repair fence here, and there's a repair
Okay,
fence
that's
here.
right, there is a piece.
I mean, I can, you know, based on what we saw, I can easily see why you want to do it. And I think the amount of disturbance is pretty minimal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Actually, that is, it's right along here.
It's just up on the railroad. I think this one was hanging over the edge, but the fence was still holding it up, so you're gonna leave it
Right.
alone.
The other fence that I am fixing the fence over near Wharf Lane, but it's out of the 200 foot.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it's not
that's right.
really
Talking
jurisdiction.
about that one.
So, you know, I guess from a point of view of safety, you know, this is a commercial industrial site, it's gonna keep people out, that's a good thing. And it's minimal, I think it's minimal impact. Right, you went up and looked at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were up there,
Right.
Found all kinds of
kind
stuff.
of like going in the ground.
All right, so that's a good thing. And then the last one is the changes to the doorway there on building 108, B108.
So that was the front, or the side facing the river.
These are the recent plans regarding that from April 24th.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a footing or a.
Yeah, it did drop off an updated one tonight with the check.
Oh, it's updated even to this one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. We don't have that, right, Julie? Still at town hall?
So what was, you want to just outline what was different?
Well, we were on site, we were talking about, there's a couple of ways we could do it, and the right way is to put a footing in.
The whole length of the door.
Instead of
So
just putting a-
so you have contact and,
Right.
yeah,
We just
and
made-
lip and all that stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. So it actually, Mike, right here, in here, this is,
Oh, okay, there.
this is the updated one right there.
Okay.
I'm showing the full footing instead of the sonotubes.
Right, I guess you have it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. And I don't know, you know, I don't know when I'll be doing some paving back there, but when we do, I think your suggestion to kind of slope it this way makes a lot of sense to kind of guide it.
Direct it away to a
Right.
place where we can control it, or you can control it. and-
Right.
Yeah. I have a feeling that little drive there just sort of evolved over the years.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't planned. I think it just sort of happened.
And then there is one other thing I'd like to talk about, and it is it's down in within the 200 foot on that fence. There's a couple of dead trees that have just kind of come down and just trashed the fence. So on the
Wharf Drive side or the?
on the Wharf Drive side, right down in here.
Yeah, that could usually be addressed in just a letter saying,
There's some dead trees, there's some trees over the fence that.
live trees,
No, well,
Dead trees.
there are some live trees too.
and you want to have those, maybe you should just send us a letter telling us what you want to do.
I could take some pictures,
And some pictures are good.
and actually, if anybody's on site, I could show you, and we could,
Yeah.
you know.
Are all the trees on your
Oh.
property, or are there any hanging over the edge of your property?
They're on my property, some of them are hanging over.
Okay.
I can't see why anybody would want them.
As long as you're not looking to cut over something that's leaning onto your property, but the trunk is not.
And
on
then
your
there's some
property.
dead trees that are kind of hanging right over, they kind of like dead limbs that came down like this, and they're just hanging, and they're just gonna come down and ruin the fence. So it's
On your property or
on my property.
all of the trees on your property?
The trunk, all the trunks.
I see what you mean. I'd have to look at it again.
Yeah, I'm just,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
get very
so-
concerned about.
So,
Well, there is another neighbor down there, I think it's on another neighbor's land, it's down beyond, it's in this person's.
Yeah.
So I would communicate with them.
so we want to do a little history here,
Yeah.
because we had to go visit these people based on a complaint a year or two ago
Yes, we did.
for cutting trees.
Yeah, but not only that, you know that they're planning on putting a dock in, and it was never filed. It's never been filed, there's no
That-
record.
Oh,
That
that's
same
the one they're
property?
talking about, okay.
That same property.
So, where I'm heading with this is, we need to look at these, because I don't want to, we got called and we didn't give them hassles, they were very accommodating, and we discussed what they had done some stuff they shouldn't have done.
Yep.
Um,
They might
I
have
wanna
wanted to
make
cut the
su-
trees that I'm talking about.
I just want to make sure, we look at yours and we treat you the same way.
Yeah.
And likewise, because I can imagine there's going to be a phone call when somebody's down there chainsawing trees,
Yeah,
and then at least we have yes, we looked at it, here's what's going on.
right. I'm not gonna do anything until somebody looks at it and says, it's okay.
It sounds like a good plan. And Mike will be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, if that's, we can take a look at them tomorrow and take some pictures or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. All right, so we've got those 4 things then that are covered under this request for determination of applicability. So, our options are to approve them with conditions under the RDA, because of, we can say it's not significant enough to warrant a full notice of intent. Or we could say, no, the work is significant and a notice of intent should be submitted, or we can do something different. I mean, you know, we might split them up or something. But so those are the options. We have precedent of using an RDA for these type of things.
Mike, what's an RDA?
Request for determination of applicability. So somebody submits a request to say, is this applicable to the wetland protection law or not? And then we decide. Or we could decide it's kind of, it does fall within our jurisdiction, but we can give you the permission to do it without having to go the whole full road of a notice of intent. So that's where we're at. And like I said, we've done that before, so it doesn't bother me about doing it. And I, you know, personally, I don't think these things mount up to a lot of work that needs to be highly regulated, but you know, that's my own opinion. So, what do you guys think?
Is there gonna be a notice of intent for the driveway, the repaving of that section?
A paving of a, not necessarily, because as long as they're not excavating.
Well, they're gonna be digging up the old, I imagine.
Yeah, well, right,
That's
it
excavating.
depends what they do. I mean, if they were just paving over what's already there, then probably not, but if they're gonna, you know, if they're gonna dig up at all, then yeah, they probably would have to file. That's when, you know, that's, as far as I'm concerned, significant crosses the line of being significant when you're excavating.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm with Tom. I'm a little concerned about the work being done on the bank, even though I want you to do what you want to do. I'm still concerned about just saying, sure, go ahead and do it when it's actually the bank of a creek.
Probably take, Kelly, probably about 2 hours to do it. It won't-
Yep. Yep.
You know.
Yep.
See, that's why I would argue that it doesn't rise to the significant enough level, both because of the amount of time it's gonna take and that you aren't filling and you aren't removing, you're stabilizing, which I would put in a completely separate category from either filling or excavating. You know, what you're doing is reinforcing the existing bank.
So,
that's why I would say it doesn't rise to the level.
Just gonna put armor on the bank.
No, we
no,
understand.
I understand.
We understand.
So I just have another example. Someone put a shed in who was on the river. I think they were like 50 feet away. I don't know how many sonotubes anymore, but it was a shed. They had a file in it.
Yeah.
Now, I guess you could use the argument, okay, they're digging.
They were excavating but small,
But
but
they were also 50 feet away.
usually typically decks and sheds, we do make people file for them, mostly out of consistency, because I don't know if it really makes sense.
Well, because they require a building permit or something.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's another thing, this doesn't require a building permit.
Now, what about then the foundation on the front of building 108, which does require a building permit? But I would almost make the argument, because it's
That's
almost
less
covered,
intrusive.
it's less intrusive.
Yeah.
As far as like if a rain event happens, what could go wrong?
Plus, I'm not sure that, does the building permit cover that work?
You know, that's something
You
I
have one general building permit.
Yes, I do.
So it's hard to really tell.
I do. And I'm just about done down there.
Yeah.
Everything is just about done. This will be the last of it, actually. I'm hoping to.
When were you planning on doing the repaving?
You know, price of asphalt is probably cheaper than it's been in a long time.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about that the other day, and not that I wanna spend any money right now, so I think.
But it's better to spend small money.
True, but I'm hoping the price of oil stays down in the long term.
Yeah.
It won't be this year. It won't be
Okay.
this year.
All right.
And if
So-
I do that, I'll come back for a request for determination.
Right. Well, I was just wondering if we could combine the two projects right along here, but if it's gonna be a year from now,
Yeah.
we don't wanna wait that long, I'm sure. You don't wanna wait that long. We don't wanna wait that long.
That, like I said, that's something that's less work than
Right.
pavement or anything
Right.
along those lines, so I could hold off on that, but it would make sense to get it done. You were there, you saw what was going on.
Saw it.
And, the main thing has been resolved, and that was the pipe that was broken, because that would have just
Kept eating away.
Eating away, it could have gone in 100 feet. So.
And at that time, when we gave the emergency order, did we give a specific limit on the riprap, or you just didn't know at that
No,
time
we
how far
did,
you wanted to go?
we were specific.
Yeah.
So why didn't we feel, I wasn't around, so I
We tried to do because we weren't doing any hearings on it and anything else, I don't
You just
like
wanted to take
go
care of
over.
the-
Yeah, so
the
I
real-
just wanted
the real
to
issue.
address, you know, it was during the seasonal restriction, everything was
That's the
bad.
ethical thing to do.
Right, so I didn't really wanna go overboard on it.
I think I just want justification if we're to go either way around how we make this kind of decision going forward as to what's the line between how we are typically going to decide what's gonna require an NOI versus what doesn't, or GNOI. I wanna be able to support this decision in with consistency when others approach us with a similar situation that's on the edge, and we wanna make them pay or not pay.
And I guess we should consider if the state came to us and said, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
Would we be in a position to
Defend.
defend ourselves?
Right.
Absolutely.
But we're going through the process, the state process of RDA, so it isn't like,
Right.
we're just, ignoring the state altogether. So we are going through that. So I would contend that the difference would be that there's no filling and no filling or excavating going on. There's no building permit required. And it doesn't reach the fourth thing is that it doesn't require the level of documentation on the permit that typically is required under a notice of intent. So the permit in most of these cases can be a letter. It's just like why do we issue a letter permit many times? Like somebody comes in, they want to cut a tree down. We don't even ask them to file. They just come in and say, I need to cut this tree down. It's in the wetland buffer. Okay, we go and look at it, then we write them a letter. They don't even file an RDA. We could say, look, you gotta file an RDA. And then we could say, oh yeah, now you filed the RDA? Yeah, now you gotta file a notice of intent. So we don't do that. So
Are we aware of any situations in our knowledge of the past where something of lesser impact we've made file, or the other way around, something of more impact that we have not made file?
Well,
is this within our continuum consistent? That's what I want to know.
I believe it is. The ones that I can think of there were about half of the filings on Stonebridge were filed under RDAs. And at the time, we didn't even have a GRDA. So part of the reasoning you could have argued is they filed for nothing. There was no fees involved at all with the state, and we didn't get anything. And we had to go through there's just as much hearing and visits and everything else, and we documented the permits with almost as much effort as the notice of intent ones were. And the only difference was, in most cases, was the distance from the edge of the wetlands to the actual work. And I don't remember the specifics about it. You know, they might have been 75 feet away versus, 50 or 25. And since that time, we have come up with a local permit process, and we've got, we know that up to 50 feet, you gotta file with the state and Groveland. 50 to 100, we can just file with us, GRDA for 75 to 100, GNOI for 50 to 75. Those were all rules that we came up with somewhere around 2005 or so.
I think it's right now, no. I'm comfortable that we can support whatever decision we make.
The docks are always an NOI, right?
Yeah, I don't know why. I have to really think
Well,
about
they
that.
always have to build a foundation.
Yes,
It needs to
right.
get fixed.
I don't know if they need a building permit, they need commercial.
Well, and it also needs to go,
Requires excavation at that
they,
point.
you have to file with the Army Corps and stuff too, don't they, so.
Yeah, so I'm trying to, cause I remember, a bunch of the things that are NOIs always involve some sort of building permit. I know there was one, there was a deck where I think honestly the guy had like one or two posts near the wetlands.
Yeah.
Or GNOI.
Yeah.
Again, it's excavation.
But, well, it's excavation, it's a building permit.
But we have become a lot less strict on decks than we used to. I would say probably for almost all decks now, I'd say they don't have to file with the state. It's ridiculous. Unless they're like right on the buffer, right on the edge of the wetlands or something.
All right,
So are you willing to go with the RDA decision? Can I write up the permit under the RDA?
I'm okay
I'm
with it.
trying to, I can probably convince myself because it doesn't need a building permit and because there's no excavation, you're just taking the rocks and putting them on top. I worry though that we get a call from the state testing what we're doing. And that's.
We
So
didn't get a
we'll-
call
we'll-
from
We'll
the-
direct the calls your way.
Yes, right. Since I'm the proponent of this, I'm the one who's gonna have to answer their call anyway, but, they know about this because, they knew about the emergency thing, they never called me up on that
How
one.
did they know about it?
Because we have, as soon as I issue an emergency order, I have to send it to DEP
Oh,
right away.
not just septics. Okay.
Anything emergency order they get, so, and they've gotta get it pretty quick, cause if they wanna appeal it, they've got like 10 days to call up and say, stop.
well, just because they didn't respond doesn't mean that.
No, but I'm just saying that, usually what they do is, they might not call you then, but they'll call you later on. You know what I mean, once it shows up on some
We've
top of
lost
somebody's
our,
file.
we've lost Pam, right?
Yes, right.
So, I don't know who's minding the store.
No, they still have people there that look at everything that comes in. It's just, how long does it take them to look at things? And I don't know what priority they, how they
Well,
prioritize.
should we ask the state?
I don't think we
Don't want to poke that hornet's
want to.
nest?
No, I'd rather not.
Well, Mike, we want you to keep being our
No, well,
chairman of the commission.
They don't, They don't want me to be the chairman anymore. They want me to take a break. So I'm just warning you about that. Our bosses.
Our bosses, we have new bosses.
Yes, and our new bosses are throwing that around.
Well,
So
the new
that
bosses.
has nothing to do with
Yeah.
this, I'm just throwing that out there.
New bosses should realize we have plenty of time getting even 5 people there. All right, it sounds like we're sort of reluctantly going along with this.
I
and
did, I would
Just
say,
don't make us look bad.
I
Make that be the
Honestly,
prettiest,
I'm not trying to.
make that be the prettiest little stablest, most.
Well, you saw, they did good.
No,
he
did a nice
good
job
work
over there. Yep.
I mean, I'm thinking in the future as, well, who knows what else work you're gonna do there. I would hate to see, 10 years from now, if we look back at all the stuff that's been there, or that's been done there, if not once, anything more substantial than a VRDA is filed. I think if I was some other people in town who had to file other things, I'd start to get upset.
Well, yes, but it really, it depends what it is.
True, and I think, if you put a fence there, that's one thing.
Hmm.
You start adding buildings or I know you had discussed some other things down here.
I
At some
think,
point, it's gotta get a little more involved.
I mean, I have no idea, but I think based on what Mr. Harper's told us about what some of the things he has in mind to do eventually, that he will be filing a notice of intent. He'll need to file a notice of intent. I think that's probably inevitable, but it seems to me that what he's doing now is just trying to clean things up a little carefully, pinpointing certain things a little at a time. And so I don't have any, personally, I don't have any trouble with that because I don't think they really rise to the level of a full filing, but.
All right, I can beat this one to death.
Yeah. All right, so I'll make a motion that we grant a permit under the RDA for the placement of riprap along the 1,500 square feet of the bank of Johnson's Creek, allow fencing, repair within the buffer zone, allow the closing in of building B109 according to the submitted plans.
108.
108, yeah, 108, sorry. And allow the placement of recycled gravel that shall not contain recycled asphalt on marked areas of the plan.
Or any other hazardous material.
Yes, or any other hazardous material.
Second.
Second, all right, there's a second. Just wait for Julie.
That was
to
the
get
all-time
caught up.
seconding.
Tell me when we can go on that, Julie.
Go ahead.
Okay, any other questions on that? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, yeah.
Opposed?
Opposed, that's it. Opposed, abstained, okay, unanimous. So I will write that up, but basically you've heard what.
Almost an hour to get from 16 to where the accident was. And then,
What time was that?
That was at, dropped her off at 3, so it was like 3:15.
Yeah, you were there at the same time I was.
Yeah.
I was coming up there like 2:30.
Yeah.
at 3.
And the thing is,
I was a little later, so
I-
it wasn't as bad.
the dump truck went down and traffic immediately started backing up and it was stopped. And so I got off and went back roads and picked up 128 and came in 93.
Oh, yeah.
93 at 2:30 was stop and go all the way from, and it's like, okay, there's no point in me going back to 93, I'm just gonna take Route 1. And, oh God, that was bad.
All right, so on the Pines, if you recall, we had our site visit there a couple weeks ago, and Mr. Arkalian agreed to get a retention pond designed and show it to us. So that's what we're waiting for.
Okay.
But the good thing is that we've got plans now. We never had, I never saw those plans.
I was gonna
before.
say, what, I mean, just as a town resident, it would have been really nice to have seen these things,
Yeah.
just out of curiosity.
I mean, honestly, I can't say, maybe we do have those plans, because I'm not sure I actually located the file from that filing, but they did file with us back then, so we must have those plans somewhere.
Okay. So. Move to adjourn. That's very nice.
I will forward you the electronic
Okay.
copy, so you will have them, and then eventually we're gonna hear from him, we can
Right,
print
I
them out and
think, I
take
think
them
just if
there.
there is a retention pond.
Yeah, well, he
and
was
it's a decent
responsive,
size,
and,
it should be
so we'll
fine.
see. We'll
Cool.
see where that goes, right?
Yep. What's next? Center Street Greenway?
No, that's it, we'll
Done.
talk
Oh.
about everything.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Good?
I'm gonna take a walk tomorrow and just take a look at some of this.
Yeah, that's probably the
Good to pick up those chairs or if we leave here.
No, no.
You have to vote on adjourning first?
Yeah, we do, but I gotta make sure Julie heard your motion.
I made a move to adjourn.
Jeff seconded at 9:43.
Oh.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Can we say aye like?
abstained,